ready to see how I used a few dollars in supplies and a little imagination to make some Halloween decor that's to die for. And as always, DIY treats. Welcome to my channel, Craft, Eat, Repeat. Hey guys, it's Aneka and welcome to my channel, Craft, Eat, Repeat. So today I have some fun Halloween DIYs for you guys. I asked you in a previous video if you wanted to save Halloween crafting for like September, beginning of October, or if you wanted to see it as I got the things from Dollar Tree, and you overwhelmingly said, go ahead and start Halloween. So that's what we're gonna do with two fun DIYs and a delicious treat. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you like what you see, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Everyone, ring that bell so you'll get a notification when my next video comes out. And after the video, head down to the comments and let me know which DIY was your favorite, or of course, you can just say hi. Also, find me on all my social media platforms and please show me what you're working on. I love to see all the crafts that you guys put together. Okay guys, it's time to craft. I'm going to start out by grabbing this skeleton garland that I got from Dollar Tree. I only need 2 of the skeletons from the garland, and I'm going to cut off the attachment that was tying them together, and this way I'll have 2 skeletons to use for my fairies. Next, I need a pack of these butterfly wings that you can also get at Dollar Tree, and we're going to attach them to our skeleton in order to make some skeleton fairies. So to do this, I'm just going to take the butterfly, cut it in half, and snip off any extra material that I don't need to glue this onto my skeleton's back. Once I have that trimmed up, I'm going to make sure my skeleton is kind of in the position that I want it to be, and then I'm going to just use a little bit of hot glue and attach the wings to the back of my skeleton. Now you can have your wings going more up, more down, and the nice thing about these is that they have some wire in them, so you can actually bend them if you'd like. Now, if you have a terrarium, you can use it at this point, but I did not have a terrarium, so I'm going to use this mason jar instead, and this is something that most people have lying around their house. Now, this is one of the larger quart-size mason jars, and I also made sure to get one that did not have any writing on the side. This way I could see into my skeleton terrarium very easily. I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of brown paint on the lid, and while that's drying, I'm going to dirty up this mason jar a little bit to make it look aged and a little bit more creepy. All I need to do this is a little bit of Mod Podge, or you can use some wood glue if you have it. And you guys, this is way more than I needed, so you only really need a little bit. And I used just a dab of light brown paint. This is so that it would have that dirty, grungy look when I put it on my jar. Now, I wanted there to be kind of an opening that was still very clear, so I did a circle around on the front of the mason jar. Now, I did notice that using the sponge brush that I used to mix the paint and the Mod Podge with, there was still a lot of paint. It was much more brown than I wanted it to be. So I went and grabbed another sponge, a clean one, and I continued dabbing all over my jar. Now you want to make sure that you dab, and this way you won't get any streaks or brush strokes, and it'll just kind of look dusty and dirty and grimy. Once I was finished with that clean brush, I went back and grabbed the brush that had a little bit more brown in it, and I just put some little dirt marks all over my jar. And then I set that aside when it was time to dry. And this did not take very long. It only took about 20 or 30 minutes, and it was nice and dry. Now that my lid was mostly dry, I went back and I rubbed off most of the paint, and that left a little bit of brown paint to where it looked nice and rusty and old and dirty. So now that I've done that, it's time to kind of create a scene for my skeleton. Now, I just used some of these wood pieces that you can get at Dollar Tree. This is a strip of moss, which you can also get at Dollar Tree. And I also used some rocks and twigs. You guessed it, also from Dollar Tree. You guys, Dollar Tree has some really nice things that you can use for crafting, and a lot of times if I see something I like, I'll just grab a bag of it because I never use a whole bag, and you cannot beat it for the price. I can get multiple projects out of just $1 or $2 worth of Dollar Tree crafting supplies. Now, when you're decorating this, you want to make sure that your lid will still fit onto the jar. So you want to test it every now and again to make sure that nothing is blocking the lid from being able to close. Now that I have my scenery completed, I'm ready to put my skeleton in. Now, the joints of these skeletons do not bend, which is fine if you just want them to be standing up, but if you want your skeleton to be sitting down or cross-legged or anything like that, you're going to have to actually cut the plastic at the joint and glue it back on in the position where you want it. I kind of wanted my skeleton to be kneeling on both knees with one hand on the glass, so I just cut at the elbow and the wrist, and then I glued things back on where I needed them. Be careful when you do this, guys, because these parts are very small and I don't want you to burn your fingers on the hot glue. Once that was finished, I was ready to very gently put my jar onto the lid. Now you want to be careful, especially if your skeleton is close to the edge. You don't want it to break. Of course, if it does, you could just take it right back off and hot glue it back on there. Now I couldn't twist the lid on too tightly because my skeleton just fit inside the jar, so I just used a few dabs of hot glue to secure it. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my other skeleton in order to get him in a position where I want him to be. I'm just cutting off the joints and gluing the pieces back on so that I can put him into the scene. Now if you want to, you can glue these onto a plaque or a board so that it's all together. I decided to just leave mine separate because I'm going to put it on the mantle and I'm not exactly sure how I want it, but I think these turned out beautifully. There's just a certain beauty to them, and I just imagine a tragic story of these two little fairies, one of whom ended up in a jar. It's a sad story, but perfect for Halloween. Now this next DIY is a really simple one and it involves bugs, so it's perfect for me for Halloween. I got this skull and crossbones plaque from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to use my X-Acto knife to cut off the hanger and the bones on the side. This leaves me with a nice and flat skull that I can use to glue onto a picture frame. Now you can use any size frame you want. I use this 5x7 and the skull fit right in the middle pretty exactly. Now at first I went ahead and I hot glued the skull onto the glass part of the frame, but I did realize later that it was easier to glue the skull, the frame, and all the little bugs separately. So you can skip this step unless you use some really strong glue, stronger than hot glue, that's for sure. Next, I got some packages of bones, and I got these little bugs also from Dollar Tree. The bones were in the Halloween section, and the bugs are in the toy section right next to all the toy soldiers and the miniature dollhouse toys. I just went ahead and I laid them out to see how many I would need to fill up the frame the way I wanted to. At this point, I did not glue anything on. I just wanted to see which bugs and where I wanted them. Next, I got some white paint and I am going to paint everything white. Now, I also think this craft would look awesome if you did this in black, and I had the thought after I finished that it would have looked amazing spray painted in gold. So those are two options that you can use if you don't want to do a white finish. But I'm just going to glue the frame, the skull, and as you can see here, the hot glue just wasn't enough to hold all my pushing and prodding with the paint, so I went ahead and took it off. Now, I did my first few layers with just wiping the paint on there, and you can see brush strokes when you do that. So what I did afterwards was I went back and I stippled the paint all over and I just dabbed it all over. So the first coat with just brushing it on there gave nice coverage, and then this last step gave it kind of like a stone appearance, which was much nicer than seeing the brush strokes. I did also realize as I went on that I needed to use a smaller brush to get in some of those little crevices of the bug. But as you can see here, it kind of has like a stone finish with nice coverage, and I love how that came out. After I did this, I realized that I wanted to add another little skeleton with some little skeleton pieces, so I painted those white as well, and then I glued everything back together. I'm going to put my skull right in the middle of my picture frame. And then I'm going to follow that up by gluing all my bones and bugs all over around the skull. I did make sure to try to cover up those holes on the side of the skull with some bones or some bugs, just to draw a little attention away from them. I decided I still had more empty spaces than I wanted to, so I just took apart another skeleton and decided where I was going to glue them. I did paint those later and glue them on. And then for the finishing touch, I had one snake left over and I wasn't sure where I wanted to put it, so I decided to cut it in half and put it like it was coming through the eyes of the skeleton. Now, for someone who doesn't like bugs and creepy crawly things, this was a nice little Halloween touch. And that's it. I love how this came out. I love that I still have plenty of bones and bugs and things where I can make another one if I wanted to. And it's got that touch of creepy, crawly Halloween fun that I love to decorate with. I have to say that my favorite of those two DIYs were those skeleton fairies. When it comes to Halloween, I have a soft spot for the not so creepy but kind of whimsical part of Halloween, and those fit right in. Head down to the comments and let me know which DIY was your favorite. So for the treat today, I have something that my kids absolutely love and that checks every box for my Halloween because one, I don't like hot dogs, and two, I don't like bugs. So this squirmy wormy sandwich is like nice and Halloween-y creepy for me to even think about, but the kids gobble it up and it's a fun thing to have at parties. So it's time to eat. So this DIY treat is basically a hot dog, but we're gonna make it fun and delicious for Halloween. So I'm going to take a hot dog, cut it in half, and then I'm going to cut that half into strips. I usually do about 3 to 4 strips depending on the size of the hot dog. Next, I'm going to put just a little bit of oil into a pan and I'm going to start to fry my hot dogs, and they should start to curl up as they fry. Once they're nice and curly, kind of looking like worms, I'm going to take them off, put them in a bowl, and I'm just going to add a little bit of ketchup and a little bit of barbecue sauce. Of course, you can use any combination you want. It just helps for it to be nice and red so it looks like wriggly little worms. Once I have that done, I'm going to take my buns. I like to use these Hawaiian sweet rolls. They taste really good with this recipe. And I'm going to add my squirmy, wormy, wriggly little worms right onto the bun. If you're doing this for a party, you can just use the smaller Hawaiian rolls, and these look so creepy crawly, and they're actually delicious if you like hot dogs. I hope you enjoyed the DIYs that I have for you today. Be sure to head down to the comments and let me know which one was your favorite. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends, and I'll see you next time when we repeat it all again.